"Step away from the car," the officer said sharply, his hand resting on his belt. "I know you didn't buy this vehicle." His voice cut through the quiet Saturday afternoon like a knife. Officer Brad Carter, tall and pale, stared at the woman beside the clean, classic 1967 Mustang like she was a criminal. Monica Reed slowly raised her hands, confused but calm. She wore simple jeans, a black blazer, and flat shoes. Nothing fancy, nothing loud. Her natural curls were tied back, and her face looked tired, the kind of tired that comes from long hours and little rest. Around them, people started to stop. A few paused in front of store windows. Others pulled out their phones. One teenager whispered, "What's going on?" Another began recording. "Hands on the hood," Officer Carter barked, pointing at the blue Mustang with his chin. "This car matches a stolen vehicle report." Monica's purse slipped from her shoulder as she followed his command. She laid her hands on the warm metal hood, the same hood her father had polished every Sunday before he passed away. Through the driver's window, a black leather portfolio lay on the front seat. Inside were court documents, a parking permit, and a laminated ID card, but none of that mattered now, not with a police officer ready to treat her like a suspect. In the distance, at the edge of Hillcrest Plaza, a college girl named Kayla Brooks held up her phone. She was live streaming on TikTok. The viewer count started to climb: 347, 622, 911. She zoomed in and whispered, "Y'all, this don't look right." Monica said quietly, "Officer, if you'll just let me explain." "Nope," Carter interrupted, louder now. "You can explain to the detectives later. Right now, I need to see your registration, insurance, and proof you didn't steal this car." People were watching now, not just one or two, at least 30. Some pretended to shop, but their eyes stayed on the scene. Monica didn't move, not yet. Her heart was racing, but her hands stayed still. She had done nothing wrong. About 20 feet away, an older black woman, Mrs. Gloria Jenkins, pushed gently through the growing crowd. Her silver hair and wide glasses gave her the look of a schoolteacher or someone's grandma. She stared at Monica's face, recognition sparking in her eyes. "That's not," Mrs. Jenkins started to say. "Ma'am, step back," Carter snapped, not even turning to look at her. "This is police business." Monica's phone buzzed inside her pocket. She couldn't answer it. Her hands were still flat on the hood. The screen showed a name: Chief Justice Linda Parker. Her vote was needed in an emergency judicial session, a major case, one that could change how officers like this were held accountable. And here she was, about to be handcuffed for standing beside her own car. Carter stepped back and spoke into his radio, requesting backup, possible stolen vehicle, suspect is uncooperative. Uncooperative? Monica hadn't even said more than 5 words, but she knew the game. She knew how reports could twist the truth. She had read enough of them in court. Kayla's stream hit 2,300 viewers. Comments flashed across the screen. "Why won't he let her speak? This is so wrong. Somebody call the news." "Empty your pockets," Carter ordered. Monica didn't move. "My ID is in my purse, officer. If you'd allow me—" "Ma'am, don't get smart with me," Carter said. "You're acting nervous. People who own cars like this don't get nervous around the police." The Mustang's window reflected the sunlight, casting a glare over the paperwork sitting inside. Court seals, an old parking permit from Brooke County Superior Court, a first-class boarding pass from a conference earlier that week. The badge number on Carter's chest caught Monica's eye: 4578. She memorized it, like she did everything else. The live stream ticked past 5,000 viewers. Kayla whispered, "This gonna go viral." Behind them, the crowd grew tighter. Phones were raised. Some shook their heads. Others whispered quietly, like they couldn't believe what they were watching. "This car belonged to my father," Monica said. "Judge Harold Reed. He served this county for 30 years. He left it to me." Carter scoffed. "Names don't mean anything. Paperwork does. I don't see any registration in your hands." She sighed softly. "It's in the briefcase, right there." She motioned with her eyes toward the passenger seat. "That's not how this works," he said, stepping closer. "You don't get to make the rules. Now stay still and wait for backup." In the crowd, Mrs. Jenkins tried again. "That's Judge Monica Reed, officer. I worked in that courthouse for over 30 years. I know her." Carter's hand moved to his belt again. "Ma'am, I told you once, step back or you'll be arrested for interfering." Monica felt the heat on her back, not just from the sun, but from the shame. Cameras were recording her like a criminal, and she still hadn't been allowed to speak. Another buzz, her phone, another missed call from Chief Justice Linda Parker. The case was happening without her. The vote might be tied. Without her, justice could go the wrong way, all because one officer didn't believe a black woman could drive a car like this. Up ahead, a local mall security guard radioed someone, watching nervously from a distance. His job didn't cover this. Monica kept her voice level. "Officer, I am not resisting, but I ask you, please, let me identify myself properly before this goes any further." Carter didn't blink. "You can do that at the station." Sirens howled in the distance. 2 police cruisers pulled into the parking lot. More uniforms stepped out. A heavier man, with gray at his temples, Sergeant Mark Davis, approached slowly. "What's going on here?" he asked. Carter answered quickly. "Possible stolen vehicle. Female suspect. Acting evasive." Sergeant Davis looked at Monica for a long second. Something in his face changed, like he wasn't fully convinced by Carter's story. Behind them, Kayla's stream ticked past 7,400 viewers. Mrs. Jenkins raised her voice again. "That woman is a judge." Monica stood still, her hands on the hood, surrounded by phones, officers, and judgment, not for what she did, but for how she looked. And deep inside her pocket, the phone buzzed one more time. 3 minutes until she'd be officially marked absent from a vote that could have ended the very thing happening to her right now.
The flashing lights from the 2 patrol cars made the scene look like a crime movie. But this wasn't fiction. This was Hillcrest Plaza, and Judge Monica Reed was still standing by her father's car, hands resting on the hood like a criminal. Sergeant Mark Davis scanned the crowd, then looked carefully at Monica. Something in her calm eyes, something in her quiet stillness made him pause. "What exactly is she being accused of?" Davis asked Officer Brad Carter, stepping beside him. Carter puffed his chest slightly. "The vehicle matches a stolen car report. The subject didn't have any paperwork in her hand, and she wouldn't give a clear answer about how she got the car." "She told you it belonged to her father," a voice called out from the crowd. Davis turned his head. It was the older woman again, Mrs. Gloria Jenkins. She was now closer, her hands gripping her phone. "That's Judge Monica Reed. She doesn't need to steal a car. She drives that Mustang every week. I worked at the courthouse for 40 years. I know her." Carter didn't budge. "I already asked her not to interfere." Davis looked back at Monica. "Ma'am, is what she said true?" Monica nodded slowly. "Yes. My name is Judge Monica Reed. I serve at the Brooke County Superior Court. The vehicle was left to me by my late father, Judge Harold Reed. The documents you need are in my briefcase on the passenger seat." Carter cut in. "Sir, we can't let her touch anything until we've completed our search. I already called in backup. We need to do this by the book." "Search?" someone in the crowd said loudly. "You still haven't even checked her ID." By now, the number of people watching had doubled. Kayla Brooks's live stream was blowing up. Her phone now showed over 14,000 live viewers. Comments were coming in from across the country. "She's a judge? This is wild. This is what black folks go through every day. They better not touch her." Sergeant Davis rubbed his forehead. "Officer Carter, let's slow down a minute. If she really is who she says, this could get out of hand." "I don't care who she claims to be," Carter said, still firm. "She's acting suspicious." A news van turned the corner. A tall white woman with a mic and long brown hair stepped out. "This is Rachel White from Channel 5 News. We're here at Hillcrest Plaza, where an alleged vehicle theft has drawn a large crowd. Early reports say the woman being held is a local judge." Carter tensed. "We need to get this under control now." Monica closed her eyes for a second. Her heart was pounding, but her voice stayed calm. "Officers," she said, "I understand you're following procedure, but I am requesting that you allow me to show identification. I will move slowly, and you can watch my hands." Sergeant Davis hesitated. His radio crackled with noise, other calls coming in from the city. "We're stretched thin today," he muttered under his breath. Officer Lisa Bennett, a younger female officer with dark braids, stepped out from the second cruiser. She looked at Monica, then at Carter. "Sarge, you might want to let her. The crowd's getting upset, and the live stream has over 20,000 viewers already." Davis turned to Monica. "Go ahead, slowly. Show us your ID." Carter's eyes narrowed. "That's a mistake." "Stand down, Carter," Davis said. Monica took a deep breath. Slowly, she reached into the passenger seat, opened her black leather portfolio, and pulled out a cream-colored card with a gold seal. She turned, holding it out for all to see. "Judge Monica Reed, Brooke County Superior Court, Justice Division." The crowd gasped. Kayla whispered into her phone, "Yo, she really is a judge." The comments exploded. "That cop is done. He profiled the wrong woman. This is how you stay calm under pressure." Officer Carter froze. His hands slowly dropped from his belt, the blood drained from his face. "Officer Carter," Monica said softly, "you asked me how I got this car. I told you it was from my father, Judge Harold Reed. He drove it for 20 years. He passed away 2 years ago. I kept it in perfect condition as a way to remember him." She pulled out a second document, the registration paper showing transfer of ownership from her father's estate to her name. "Is that enough evidence for you?" she asked quietly. Davis looked at Carter. "Well?" Carter didn't respond. "Answer him," Mrs. Jenkins said loudly from the crowd. Even the mall's head of security, Mr. Raymond Green, walked over. "Officers, the mall management is worried about this escalating. Can we resolve this peacefully?" Rachel White from Channel 5 News turned her camera directly on Monica. "Judge Reed, can you comment on what just happened?" Monica adjusted her blazer. "This isn't about me alone. This is about what happens when people are judged by their skin before they're allowed to speak. I've presided over hundreds of cases, many involving police officers. I've always said due process is a right, not a privilege." And Officer Carter finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. I was just doing my job." "Were you? Or were you assuming that someone like me couldn't possibly own something nice?" The silence was thick. No one moved, no one spoke. Sergeant Davis finally broke the tension. "We're going to write up a full report and we'll be reviewing body camera footage." Monica added, "You should also check Officer Carter's record. I believe you'll find prior complaints." Kayla's phone ticked past 28,000 live viewers. Her followers now included civil rights lawyers, media houses, and local politicians. Mrs. Jenkins stepped up beside Monica. "You held your ground, baby. Your father would have been proud." Monica smiled softly. "Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins. I just wish he didn't have to watch this happen to me from heaven." Her phone buzzed once again. Chief Justice Parker, the 20th missed call. She picked it up and answered. "Your Honor, this is Judge Reed. I apologize for the delay. I was stopped by police while trying to return to Chambers." On the other end, Chief Justice Parker's voice was sharp and worried. "Are you safe?" "I am now, but I believe a vote has already taken place." "It has. Without your swing vote, the police accountability measure failed by 4-4. Monica closed her eyes. The weight of that news crushed her chest. She didn't cry, she didn't scream, but inside, something shifted. This wasn't just personal anymore. It was war.
Monica held the phone close to her ear. The crowd around her had quieted. Her voice stayed calm, but her eyes burned with disappointment. "So," she said to Chief Justice Parker, You're telling me the vote failed because I wasn't there to break the tie? Yes, the chief replied softly. It was a 4-4 split. Your vote would have passed the new police accountability law. Monica lowered the phone slowly, her hand shaking just a little. That law, the one she had helped draft, was meant to stop exactly what just happened to her in that parking lot. It would have forced stricter policies on racial profiling, required every officer to complete bias training, and made body cam reviews mandatory. And now, it was dead. Because she was busy proving she had the right to stand next to her own car. Sergeant Mark Davis stepped forward. Judge Reed, I just want to say, no, Monica interrupted. Not yet. She turned to face Officer Carter, who stood frozen by his cruiser. His hand still rested near his belt, not from power, but from fear. You don't even realize how close you were, Monica said, to ruining your career, to putting your entire department under federal investigation, to being the reason a woman of the law was arrested live on camera. Carter didn't respond. He looked at the pavement like a child caught stealing. Monica stepped toward him, her voice never rising. What would have happened if I had moved too fast? If I had reached for my ID without permission? Would I have been on the ground right now? In cuffs? On the news for all the wrong reasons? Officer Lisa Bennett, the younger officer with the body cam, nodded slowly. She had seen it before, too many times. But this one felt different, because it was public, because it was a judge. Kayla Brooks was still live streaming, 45,000 viewers now. She's saying what we all feel. Don't let this end quietly. This is how change starts. Monica continued, her eyes never leaving Carter. I don't hate you. I don't even want revenge, but you need to understand something. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a choice, a habit, a way of thinking that needs to be broken. Carter swallowed hard. I was following protocol. Then your protocol is broken, Monica said. Behind her, Mrs. Gloria Jenkins spoke up. For years I've watched this happen to our people, quietly, silently. You're lucky she stayed calm. Monica nodded at her. Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins. You're right. If I didn't have experience in handling people like him, this could have ended badly. Rachel White from Channel 5 stepped forward. Judge Reed, do you plan to take legal action? Monica looked straight into the camera. Yes. The crowd murmured. Not just for me, she said, for everyone who's ever been stopped, searched, or questioned for existing while black. I plan to file a formal complaint with the Brooke County Police Oversight Board, the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, and I will speak publicly about this until change happens. Carter's shoulders dropped. He knew what this meant. His record would come up, his past complaints, his lawsuit settlements. It would all be exposed. Sergeant Davis stepped closer. Your Honor, what would it take to make this right? Monica's eyes were firm now. 3 things. The entire crowd listened. First, she said, Officer Carter must be placed on immediate unpaid suspension, pending an investigation into his conduct today and his past complaints. Second, she continued, Brooke County Police Department must agree to mandatory racial bias training for every active officer, including supervisors. And third, she paused, Officer Carter must appear with me, in person, before the state legislature and testify under oath about what happened here today. Carter's mouth dropped open. Wait, testify? Monica raised her eyebrow. If you believe you were just doing your job, then you shouldn't be afraid to explain it to the people who write the laws. The silence that followed was louder than any siren. Kayla's phone showed 57,000 viewers. The hashtag Justice for Monica was now trending. Davis looked at Carter. Well, what do you say? Carter's voice cracked. I don't want to lose my job. Then don't lose your soul, Monica replied. Use this moment to make it right. The mall's head of security, Mr. Green, stepped forward with his phone in hand. Our company CEO just called. Judge Reed, we're deeply sorry for what happened on our property. We'd like to offer you an open forum in our space next month to speak to the community about justice and reform. Monica nodded. That's a start. Then, slowly, Carter removed his badge and handed it to Sergeant Davis. I'll testify, he said quietly. I'll admit what I did. Maybe it'll help someone else not make the same mistake. Mrs. Jenkins whispered behind Monica. That's what your daddy would have wanted. Monica smiled gently, her eyes watering. He taught me that real change doesn't come from power. It comes from courage. As the sun began to set over Hillcrest Plaza, the crowd began to clap. Not loudly, not wildly, just steady, quiet, respectful. Justice hadn't been served yet, but it had begun.
If you were touched by this story, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join us in sharing good stories that matter. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next story.